Hi everybody, my name is Chris Vazquez. I'm the Director of Marketing at Orbee, and I'm joined with Will and Steve from Basil Family Dealerships. And we'll say hi.
Hi guys. Yeah, thanks for having us, Chris.
Yeah, of course. So these guys came out to Used Car Week because they won the Innovator of the Year award, and Orbee got to sponsor that award, and we just got off stage not too long ago, and we kind of touched on why you guys even won the award.
Right.
But I wanted to sit down and in a little bit longer format, just kind of talk through your trade-in experience.
Sure.
So what would you, when you're telling other dealerships, maybe in a 20 group, like, oh, we just built this, what would you call it? How would you describe it to them?
I think simply put, it's really just a direct consumer vehicle acquisition platform.
Okay.
With a twist, right? So I think the goal and idea originated from the need to, I guess, fill our lots with more used car inventory, right? And so how do we get creative, think outside the box, and get that done in a more progressive way?
Okay. And then why didn't you just, like, what was the trade-in widgets on your website? Like, what were they not solving? Like, what made you want to build something out more a little complex, a little more thought out?
Yeah, so I'll say a piece and then I'll pass it off to Steve.
Okay.
But I think the goal stemmed from, okay, we're capturing X part of the market out there, right?
Okay.
With what we have on our websites currently. We know that there's another segment of the customer base sitting out there that we're not capturing currently, right? So how do we kind of get creative and do it a little bit differently so as to appeal to that other type of customer, right? And so maybe that's a customer that doesn't necessarily want to deal with the dealership directly, right? And so, we kind of took that and kind of started whiteboarding it and, kind of came up with the idea for a separate brand, right? And one that would allow the consumer to transact in a little bit more of a frictionless way. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's kind of where it came from. Yep. I'll kind of pass this over to Steve.
Yeah, and I think taking the lead to conversion idea. Mm-hmm. So in New York, after COVID, we ran into a human shortage.
Yeah.
So we have, things like ICO and AccuTrade, and we have all these leads, and then we don't have anybody to call them.
Right.
Yeah, and as our quality of employee went down out of desperation, this prompted us to really just start, thinking, okay, how do we convert that spend better?
Right.
And that's where the genesis started. It's human capital, because we don't really monetize that enough on the acquisition side. And in New York, our wages are minimum wage is $15 an hour going to.
Okay.
And the average wage is just for an administrative person 20 plus per hour. So whether you acquire a vehicle or not, so this is certainly going to help us over the next months and years to come.
Okay.
So
cool. Well, I think it's important we set the stage right before we talk about what exactly it does and what it took to build it, just so that the viewers get a little excited. Like, man, I have that problem. We run into the same issue, human capital. We want to reach a different market. How do we stand out from just this widget on our site? So let me try and take a pitch at what we did together. So I think you guys approached us with this idea and a tool. Our CEO, he's like, oh yeah, we could build that. We'll build that. So built the microsite website.
Yep.
We built the form using our form API, connected that to ACV for the vehicle value data.
Yep.
So through that form process, when the shopper reaches a certain step, they get their vehicle valuation range. Okay. And then they get a text message prompting them to go through the next step to actually do an inspection on the vehicle using Raven.
Yep.
And then after that, another valuation is given.
Yeah. So if the customer takes it all the way to the end, it's triggered an event for them to go ahead and do a remote inspection of their vehicle through the Raven technology, right? So a customer can be sitting in their driveway. They get the link from us through the system. It opens up the Raven platform on their mobile device, right? And takes, call it 90, maybe to 120 seconds to do a full scan of the vehicle.
Okay.
That brings the condition report back into our system, and then our buyers can evaluate that condition report. And then kind of either increase value or decrease value based on what they see from the condition report.
Got it. What's on the condition report, and then maybe like what's on your lot and other things like that.
Sure.
Really customize how you follow up with. So
Absolutely.
That's where it becomes manual, right? Because the rest of that is just like it's the shopper doing everything on themselves at their own time and pace, and then it reaches to the point where they finish their report, inspection report, and then it's manual from there. Okay. Gotcha. How's that been? Because we've been live, right?
Yep.
So
we're live.
Any feedback on internal from the store or how customers are using it?
I think, from the inspection report standpoint, we've gotten some pretty good feedback from customers so far. It's a simple enough process as to where you can keep the consumer engaged, right? And it's not clunky, right, as to where the consumer may shy away from it. I think if you don't have a very seamless, simple process for the customer, you will lose them, right? And so our focus just throughout this entire process with you guys and Raven and the ACV team has been, how do we make this as streamlined and simple as physically possible,
right?
And really take the least amount of effort from the consumer as physically possible.
Right. Yeah. I think we were excited to help you build this out because we understood that what it would take to make sure that it's like an easy experience, but that also, it's not going to be 100%.
Right.
So if we're familiar with how this works, then, Orbee can be installed throughout this experience and capturing the events, someone makes it to this step or this step. We're building those segments and really trying to understand, okay, where are people dropping off? Can we then retarget them through a different channel and when I say retarget for the viewers, it's like you can send an email to someone based on a certain step they got to.
Right.
You could show a pop-up message on sellmycarbuff.com that says, hey, let's finish this form, or add them to an advertising audience where you could like retarget them to come back for that brand. So like knowing where people are dropping off will help bring them back to finish the form, but then you also collect other data, and we were talking about this last night. Just because someone finishes the form doesn't mean it's a lost lead completely, because you now own, who this person is, and you know what's in their garage. Right. So who wants to speak on that exciting idea?
Yeah, so the garage was a tools idea.
Okay.
We were kind of, when this whole thing was being born, we were sitting there spitballing at 11 o'clock at night at some conference last November.
Like a year ago.
And he's like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And we're like, wow, we love all of that.
Yeah.
So the garage was one of those, what about this, kind of dynamics. So, that's kind of stage 2 of the project here.
Right.
We're constantly iterating on it with you guys and our other partners involved. So the goal there is to essentially allow the customer to store their vehicle information in a garage on our platform, right? And what does that allow us to do, right? That allows the customer to have the flexibility of, okay, today's maybe not the day I want to transact, but it's in there. Now I can come back to the site in the web-based app and open the garage up, and all my information's in there already. Right. So in the spirit of transacting seamlessly on the customer's time, right? Yeah. Because that's one thing that we as dealers are not great at is thinking about the customer's timeline. Right. And, all shoppers are different, right? So some shoppers, they're going to come to that site and they're going to want to transact that day, get it done and get their cash and sell the car. Others are much more calculated, right? And want to do all their diligence. And so even though they dropped off that first time, they store their car in the garage, they come back and boom, rock and roll. Yeah. Once they've kind of vetted out all their other options.
Yeah. I think, Steve, you were talking about how that would be a benefit from you operationally, because now you have a database of vehicles that are could potentially be acquired, and you could see like, oh man, that would sell like that. I should offer a little bit more. And now you have like a hit list. You could just like hit up instead of just randomly trying to find it.
For those, Cox Automotive users, vAuto has a strategy page, right? So there's your shopping list.
Okay.
Right. So you can use Workbench or the recommendations, etc. But they're, obviously we know that $15,000 and under SUVs are, in high demand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, instead of going to the next auction list, you go to that list.
Yeah.
Acquire them, no fees, no transportation.
Right.
So obviously more profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so here you not only have a car connected to it, you have a customer connected to it.
They're
right.
familiar with you.
Whereas within the other kind of options you referenced, you have the vehicle attached. It's been selling. You need more of them. But in this instance, you have a customer attached right on the other end that you can reach out to and hopefully transact. Right.
Yeah. And just like extend that brand loyalty. Like, you don't know who they got that car from originally, but they now know that like you kept up on them, you checked up on them, showed them, the service that they were looking for, gave them the offer they were happy with. And so next time they're looking for another car, they have that brand connection now.
And to that point about vehicle history, a customer, at least in our area, is a lot more likely to purchase it if they see a local Carfax, local maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, from New York, or buy a car from Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. They have a lot of questions there. So, again, that helps us with the other side of the acquisition, the exit strategy, where customers just feel that, better feeling on the car's life cycle. So,
okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add about where you kind of want to take this experience? Is there another sector of, the dealership operations that this could kind of apply to? Like right now it's trade-in, but I don't know, scheduling service or...
I think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
They really are. Because it is all that same idea, the old school car dealership mentality, where you have a list, you have to call these people, you need human capital to do this.
Yeah.
So Orbee helps, and this platform helps us retarget those folks efficiently without the labor cost.
Yeah.
And keep those customers highly engaged.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and be able to provide a highly customized and tailored message to that customer so that we're not wasting their time. Right? Because that's the one thing that consumers hate the most is when either they have to do something twice or they feel like they've, described something to one person in your store, but then another person comes in cold and really has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? So if we can kind of get custom tailored messaging that's highly relevant to that customer, I think that's going to be a much better customer experience.
I want to point out anecdotally that like there's industries that have been doing this for a while, like your credit card companies, airlines, retailers like Amazon, Best Buy, but I think dealerships really need to catch up because even my local Red Robin has a customer profile of me. And I did this the other day where my wife, she like is very picky about what she orders. So doing it on the mobile app, trying to like pick all the know this, know that. So I just called. And first of all, Red Robin nationwide, but it's a centralized kind of like VDC where they asked for my location. They already knew what I had previously ordered and asked if like, did I just want to repeat that order? And I was like, no, I actually want to customize it a little bit. And like just, it was mind blowing. I was like, this is like Red Robin. They're doing cool tech stuff too now. It's like anybody can do it now. Just find the right partner, tell them what you're dealing with, what you want to focus on first, and then just take a stab at it. I like that you guys just, like, we moved forward. We just did it. We just built it, and now we can improve it, reiterate it, and
absolutely.
go from there.
And it makes you feel good as a customer when that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like, and my expectations were low for that industry. But now it's just like, okay, that's the standard now. Now that's the standard. So.
Well, and I think, you mentioned earlier just, data becoming an increasingly valuable asset, right, to, I mean, really any retail business, but in this instance, automotive retail. In our ability to leverage that to drive a better customer experience in partnership with Orbee, I think is going to put us on the forefront of what's out there. And I think it's critical. I think dealers need to be engaged in that. Yeah. And I think, the innovation the opportunity for innovation out there is endless. Yeah. So a focus on it will really help, I think, improve, the way that the consumer views our industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you guys are leading the way. You're the innovator of the year. So talking the talk and walking the walk. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to add, Steve?
I would say that, to piggyback off of Will was saying that, we've gone through an interesting 5 years, and I would venture to say, and it's changed more in the last 5 years than in the last 30. Not too many dealers, I think, would disagree. Yeah. And, as we go through these next 18 months, it's a litmus test, a stress test of the fortitude of the dealerships. So there's going to be times where the GMs of the stores or dealer principals or sales managers will always go to that mailer. Let's get the mailer going. Let's fire it up. We need customers. Yeah. Right. And that's a Band-Aid. Right. Yeah. Not saying we don't do it ourselves. However, the future looking prospect on that is, are we currently taking care of the data? Are we making these types of moves? Right, to think forward. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so we're excited. We see the vision. It's really going to help us over the next decade or two. Yeah. So
I can't imagine what automotive is going to look like in a decade or two. I joined automotive. This will be my 3rd year pretty soon, and I'm sticking around because the growth and the potential for innovation is it's there. So it's really exciting. I'm going to stick around for a while. So. All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to have a little blog post attached to this video that kind of details the trade-in experience. But if you want to check it out yourself, visit sellmycarbuff.com.